Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on where you are watching me from. I want to thank you for tuning again to my channel. Today I have this important message for us concerning the women, as I have always presented. Today I want to talk about the 6 ways in which the woman defiles her God-given divine destiny because of the way she treats herself. Although this video is aimed at the women, the men also should watch, because what I am going to talk about here are either orchestrated by the men or are done by the women so as to impress or distract the men. So I want every woman to patiently watch this video. Also, every man to watch this video, as it has a lot to do with our lives. Please, I want you to patiently watch to the end. Don't run away halfway without listening to the end. Because don't be surprised. The fulfillment of your God-ordained destiny may depend on what you are going to hear in this very presentation. From what I have for you here, no matter how blunt or bitter what I am about to say may sound to you, I want you to understand that sometimes bitter things bring about sweet things at the end of it all. Many of us take drugs, and most of the drugs that bring enduring healing are usually bitter in taste. When you put it in your mouth, it tastes bitter, but by the time you are through with the medication, you discover that you get better, you get healed and relieved from your ailment. So in the same way, I want to assure you that what I'm about to say here is not to spite anybody, but to help, to assist, to counsel, and to give important information to the hearers for the betterment of their lives and future. But before I proceed, I will want you to please like this video, subscribe, and let me have your comment, as this will help me to even do better than this. So now let's go. Do you know that as a woman, you can stagnate or even delay the shining of your God-ordained glorious destiny? You can, by yourself, stagnate it, delay it, and ruin it from shining, and thereby truncating your potentials. Why? Because of some of the things that you do to yourself. Some of the things you do to your body. It could be a decision you have taken, which you think it's good. Yes, I always say it, that some of the things that some of us do, we do out of ignorance. Because I believe that if we knew some of the things we do today, that these things are not good for our lives, we wouldn't have started doing them. But you can learn, you can listen, you can understand, and do the right thing, so that it will be well with you. Yes, you can, and many people, especially women, they do things that are not really good to their lives, to their destinies, to their glory. Before we delve into the main issue of this video, I want to bring to our remembrance, because maybe some of us ladies, young ladies of today, did not know. I want to bring to our remembrance one African American music star and music icon. He had this talent, greatly talented, and his parents discovered this talent while he was yet a toddler, very, very young and tender. And they nurtured him and polished his talent, and he matured, and soon he rose to stardom. And when he became a big star in music and entertainment, and the dollars were flowing in millions. Yes, he became very rich through this talent, this musical and singing talent. He became very rich, very popular all over the world, known by many, so many millions of people. And all of a sudden, he discovered that his black and beautiful afro hair, his black and beautiful afro hair, which God so generously endowed him with. You needed to see him as a young man, very handsome, with bushy black afro hair, which God endowed him with. So he suddenly discovered that it was the hair that God put on his head, the natural hair, was no longer befitting for him. So he also discovered that his African B-shaped nose, you know, we Africans, our noses are B-shaped and broad. We are not like the Europeans. That is how God wants us to be, and it's okay for us. You should be proud of it. So he discovered that his African B-shaped nose was no longer good for him, was not a perfect match to his features. So he said it wasn't acceptable anymore to him. So he got himself some people whom he thought knew better than God, and they began to alter so many things in his life. He started by going to stretch his kinky, curly African hair. He went to stretch it, he went to fry it so that it would be long, like the Europeans. They have long hair. But we Africans, God gave us such beautiful Afro hair. But he thought, no, he didn't like it. So he went to fry it, to stretch it until it became long. After that, he went on to employ all sorts of plastic surgery to redesign and reshape his natural African broad B-shaped nose, to make it long and pointed like Europeans. Yeah, he thought that would be better for him. He did this because he had the resources, he had the money, he had the fund to do it. So he reshaped himself, he recreated himself, he made his hair to become long, and he threw away the natural African Afro hair and went to stretch his hair, and the hair became long. Went to reshape his nose, and the nose now became, I don't know, maybe pointed and long through plastic surgery. So, but that was the genesis of his problem. That was the genesis of the problems that he had to face after he began to alter his personality to become different from how God originally made him. So eventually, to cut the long story short, he died. He died without fulfilling his divine destiny. He died without living out his God-ordained number of years which he was supposed to spend in the land of the living. Though he was a multimillionaire, he was popular, he was known all over the world, yet he died unaccomplished. He died unaccomplished. He tried to recreate himself to become another person, different from the way God had created him. So that was his undoing. The wisdom of God is unsearchable. Whatever God has given you, however He has created you, He is wise enough to know that that is the best for you, and you should be grateful to Him and show appreciation for the way God has created you. Don't covet what God has not given to you. Some of the mistakes we make as human beings is when we become covetous. When we become covetous, we begin to look at other people's things instead of looking at our own and being grateful to God who has given it to us. So he gave himself another picture or image, even which heaven might not be able to recognize because of the arrogant alterations he made on himself. So that so-called king of pop music defiled and polluted his God-given glorious destiny by altering his natural beauty and eventually died as an artificial creation. He died as an artificial creation. Alas, what do we have today? People have always failed to learn from the ugly experiences of others before them. It is common among human beings. Human beings hardly learn from other people's mistakes and the consequences of such mistakes. I think the right thing is that we should learn from others' mistakes so that we will not face worse or even the same consequences. Many women today are many women, both young and old, are proudly towing the same path. They are proudly towing the same path of the king of pop music. These are, as I'm going to mention them, I said six ways in which the woman of today defiles her God-ordained glorious destiny. I start with number one, the painters, those who paint. They can paint. I'm not talking about the artists that do sculptures and not, no. Those that shape themselves and give themselves different images. So these women who indulge in the painting art, they are suffering from the same inferiority complex that consumed the king of pop music. They paint virtually everything in their faces. These women, they paint everything in their faces. They have paint for the eyes, they have paint for the lips, they have paint for the cheeks and other parts, even their lips, they have paints. So they have different colors. So by the time they paint their eyes and paint their cheeks, paint their lips, paint their everywhere, their eyebrows, it becomes something wonderful, something amazing for people to behold. And they call it makeup. They call it makeup. They employ the use of all sorts of chemicals, gum, ammonia, alkanate, roots, lamp black, pulverized antimony, just to reshape and alter their facial appearances. And they say they want to enhance their beauty. They want to enhance their beauty. Yet, nothing is enhanced. Nothing. What I always see is glorified masquerades. What I see every time, see them, glorified masquerades. So, by the time you finish painting up your face, it is difficult to recognize you. Very difficult. So if God had wanted you to look the way you have chosen now, He would have painted you up from birth. He would have painted you up from birth. But He didn't do that. He gave you perfect, natural appearance, image. And as a matter of fact, He created you in His own image. So let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question. As a young lady or as an elderly woman, tell me, if you gave birth to a baby girl and she came out painted up, face, eyes, eyebrows, the cheeks, the lips, all painted up as you born, will you have the courage to take that baby to your house to nurse? No. No is the answer. The straight answer is no. You won't have that courage. As a matter of fact, you will run away from such a baby. So, why do you go about painting everything? Painting. Paint your eyebrows. Draw some crooked lines. Paint your eyes. Paint your cheeks. Paint your lips. And for what? So at the end of the day, you are not different from a masquerade. Number two way in which the woman defiles her God-ordained destiny and glory and stagnates her progress. The next one is putting artificial eyelashes. I don't know what makes many women to condescend so low to defile themselves by fixing those pieces of trash or pebbles to their eyes. They look outrageously unnatural, very unnatural. Look at the people that are wearing those fake eyelashes. How do they look? Outrageously unnatural. But shockingly, most of them that wear that thing, they wear it proudly and with some glee. But does it add anything to their beauty? No. Does it make them look more attractive? No. The worst makeup I've ever seen in my life is the eyelashes thing. This thing they fix in their eyes is the worst I've ever witnessed. Very, very ugly, awkward, and terribly, terribly unnatural. How can one feel attractive with such an unnatural and foreign body sticking to her eyes, and they are proud of it? The truth is this, and it may sound bitter in your ears, but it's true. If you die wearing these strange things on your lashes, they are what will shut the gate of heaven against you. You can't enter with those things in your eyes. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. Very bitter, but truth. Number 3, the hair attachments. They call them hair extensions. The other one, they call it lashes extensions. This one now, hair extensions. Mostly worn by black women. Just like the king of pop star, pop music. They want to wear long hair. So, they forget that their head is the symbol of their glorious destinies. And the worst thing you can do to your destiny is to begin to abuse your head. You abuse your head by putting those strange objects on your head. But the black African woman, whether at home or in diaspora, will not hear. They won't hear. They won't listen. And this is the worst thing any woman can do to herself, fixing foreign hairs to their heads and going up and down. They fix it. You see them going up and down, brandishing them proudly. Brandishing them proudly and happily. So as a woman, you ought to guard that head carefully. As a woman, you ought to guard your head carefully and jealously to avoid polluting your God-given glory. But alas, like the foolish ostrich, which leaves her eggs unprotected, carelessly unprotected, these women surrender their head willingly, consciously, and freely to some hairdressers. Some of whom are clearly witches and wizards, who are looking for other people's glory to steal, who are looking for other people's destinies to exchange. They carry their head, they drop it on their laps, and they begin to do all sorts of things on those heads and begin to fix strange loads, which they call hair. Strange loads of hair from strange origins on their heads without batting an eyelid, because they want to look beautiful. Unknown to most of these women, unknown to them, or maybe some of them know, As I'm saying it now, some will not believe me, but I will say it. I will say the truth. Because in this channel, it's only the truth. You may not buy into it, but we must tell that truth. Unknown to them, some of these hairs are from the heads of dead corpses. Some of these hairs they are wearing, they used to they say as extension to make their own hair to be long. Some of those hairs were cut from the hairs of dead women, dead corpses. Some of them are from demon-possessed people. Some are used for rituals in some strange altars and temples. Some of them are from the heads of some cursed persons, and some are from the heads of some insane people. So they package these things together and export them to Black African women, and they spend thousands to buy